Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Just sitting here. Let me get this camera straight. There we go. What's going on, YouTube? Just sitting here waiting to get my truck unloaded. Figured I'd come on live with y'all. I like coming on live with the people that like checking out my live streams. To give me a chance to be able to interact with you and answer your questions if you got any, or just essentially let you know I'm here. So it's the helpful trucker, and I'm only here for a few minutes. I only got a few minutes to get before this trailer gets done. But a lot of people when they first get started. In this video, I'm gonna talk about when you initially get started in trucking, and how it's difficult when you first get started for a lot of people. But I want to talk in this video about some of the things that get a little bit easier, right, over time. A lot of people when they first get started in trucking, because trucking is an industry that's more or less based on, I guess you could say it's kind of based on seniority or experience, right? I would assume I've only had one trucking job in the 4 years that I've been out here on the road, but I would assume that the best trucking jobs go to the most experienced drivers, the ones that know the game, right? So a lot of the times when you get started out here as a brand new truck driver, your first 6 months, your first year, your first year and a half, your first 2 years before you get any real time behind the wheel, you hear a lot of people talk about how tough that first initial period can be. And I've actually seen people and heard from people that essentially their first job, because they got started in trucking the wrong way, if you want to say, they got started with the wrong type of job. It was the wrong type of job for them. Maybe it kept them away from the house for too long, or maybe the job just required too much extra BS or whatever. Or maybe the people didn't treat them with the respect that they wanted to get treated with. Point being, I've heard of a lot of people that wanted to become a truck driver, became a truck driver, got their first job, and after that got ruined, don't want to do it. And heard of people like that. So, Ravanna, how are you, sir? Rodney Williams, that's what's up, bro. I appreciate you being here, man. Absolutely. And anybody else, if you're here checking out, drop in and say hi to the helpful trucker, man. But let me roll on with this because I don't have too much longer here, like I said, before this trailer gets done. But anyway, again, when you first get started, it can be tough getting through the initial, getting through the BS, right? You don't have much miles, you don't have much wheel time, you probably don't have a job that pays the you get started, that it's going to be a little bit before all of that starts to happen for you. But right, a lot of the times they say that it's hard to see the forest for the woods or something like that. It's hard to be able to be in the midst of something and then be able to say, well, this ain't really gonna take that long of a time, right? Ever. It definitely seems like forever. So in this video, what I want to talk to you about real quick is some things that is a little bit different than most of you guys' situation. When I got out of CDL school, the first job and the only job that I've had is driving my pop's truck. Is working for my dad. So I didn't have to go around and get jobs, and I didn't have to deal with this truck has been on different jobs, so I've dealt with different companies and different dispatchers, right? But I haven't really like bounced around or had to look around at a lot of the different companies or mega carrier CDL school. I came right out, started driving locally, right? How can you drive on the highway? I came right out, started driving locally. I'm in state, I'm in Virginia. So I didn't deal with, my situation is a little bit different than you guys. But even with the situation that I have, I've noticed that some things have gotten easier, right? So I want you to understand that if you're in your first year of trucking and you feel like you may be questioning or doubting whether this is the road, the right path for you, I can't guarantee you that this is the right path for you, and I can't guarantee you that you'll still be wanting to drive a truck 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now. But what I can tell you is a few things that do get easier after your first year, your first 2 years, your first 3 years. And one of the things I want to talk to you or just mention to you, which I already mentioned to you briefly, is again, the more drive time you get, the more time behind the wheel that you get as a truck driver, then generally speaking, the more opportunity is going to become available for you. So essentially, right, you could almost make the argument that it doesn't really matter where you start in trucking time. And as you continue to keep your driving record good, because everything you do on the road behind the wheel, there is a record of it, right? So as you keep your driving record good and as you start to accumulate wheel time, then more job opportunities obviously are going to become open for you, which hopefully are going to be more suitable to your personal condition. You may want to go over the road. You may want to be home every night. You may not want to be out on the road over a week at a time. You'll qualify for more or have more opportunity for those jobs, to get more of those jobs as you get more wheel time. So that's going to get easier. You're going to get more opportunity, and you're going to get more opportunity to make more money, generally speaking, as you get more wheel time and as you get more experience and as you keep your driving record good. That's a key thing. Seniority and experience matter, but it don't matter if you mess up your driving record, if you mess up your CDL. So you need to not be tearing up stuff as you're going down the road. The second thing, and I only got 3 of them for the most part, but the second thing that I noticed is going to get easier. Got easier for me, and it's probably going to get easier for you and other people as well, as you get more seniority and wheel time, is basic knowledge of how it goes with the job that you're on, right? So when I first started with this company, with this job that my truck is on right now, there's a certain way that things go, right? I don't go to we go to the same places, but we don't go to the same places every day. And I'm not like going to 14 or 15 different places a day. I only go to 2 or 3 different places a day. So I'll end up, I might go months in between going to the same place. The point that I'm making is each place that I go to, generally speaking, they have a way of doing things, right? They have a way of doing things that is specific to them. Some places you go to, you got to check in. I got to get my paperwork before I drop a trailer, swap out a trailer, or pick up the trailer that I'm coming to pick up. Some places I go to, I don't need any paperwork. Going there to pick up a trailer, but I don't need to grab any paperwork for it, right? And when I first started, things like that I didn't know. I spent unnecessary time doing stuff like that, taking time doing stuff that didn't necessarily need to be done, which is actually my third point. Taking time to do stuff that really doesn't need to necessarily be done. I'll talk to that more in 1 second, but just knowledge of your basic routes and routines, right? The best way to go. Sometimes, your GPS, if you're not dealing with a trucker-friendly GPS, your GPS, which I follow it a lot of drivers follow their GPS a lot. I got a trucker-friendly GPS now, but your GPS may not, not only do you got a Havana, thank you for coming, but you also got to worry about your GPS just taking you on routes that you can go on, but you might not necessarily want to be on. Sometimes my regular GPS will route me around traffic, and it'll put me on a route that I can go on as a trucker, but I might not want to go on because of congestion or whatever, right? So a lot of the times, even if it's traffic in front of me, if my GPS offers me, my GPS that is not trucker friendly offers me an alternative route, I'm still staying on the highway route, the route that I'm used to, the route that I got knowledge about. And that's what I mean about having knowledge about what's going on, Icy? How you, bro? Good to see you, man. I ain't heard from you in a while. Definitely good to see you. It's Icy Profits, man, one of the subscribers to the channel. Good to see you, man. Having knowledge of all of that place and knowing what the routine is. They want their drop trailers dropped over here, and the pickup trailer that you're picking up from is over there, or in some cases in a lot that they got around the corner. You can spend a lot of time. Hunter, what's up, bro? You can spend a lot of time drop trailer here, riding around this lot right here, looking for the trailer that you're supposed to pick up, not knowing that the typical routine for this particular company is to drop your trailer here, pick up your trailer over there, grab your paperwork on the way out. So just all of that stuff, generally speaking, once you start to work for a company or kind of pull around the same freight, once you start to work for a company or pull around the same type of general freight to the same type of places, you definitely get a better understanding of what's expected from place to place. And so when you go somewhere, you know exactly what to do. You ain't blocking up the entry and the exit ramps because you got to go in and check for stuff that you don't need and all of that. That definitely makes my day, has made my day over the years, over the last 2 years that I've been at this place right now. That has definitely made working with this stuff a whole lot smoother. This work that I'm doing right now is crazy anyway, but knowing what you're supposed to do when you get to certain places, knowing the route to get in behind the building, that's crazy. A lot of the times, you know, we got to go around the building, but if you come around the building the wrong way, you might have to blindside. You might have to go back out and find somewhere to turn back around so you can come in and back in on the driver's side like you would want to. All that little stuff definitely matters. Let's see if I can pull up these comments. I saw you guys' comments just now, but I didn't read them and they faded out already. But having basic knowledge of the routes and the routine and the protocols that's typical to what you're doing definitely makes a difference. That'll make it get easier. After 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months of working with a company, then you'll know. And instead of you having to ask other people what's the typical routine here, you'll be able to tell other people what the typical routine is when they go to this particular place. And the last thing, which I already mentioned, the third thing, and there's probably a lot of other stuff that's going to get easier over time, but the last thing, I already mentioned it a little bit, is just having more of a basic knowledge of what needs to get done, priority. I'll put it that way. Especially as an owner operator, right? Especially as somebody that's driving their own truck, that don't have a company truck. There's no mechanic for me to check my truck into when I get done and not what's wrong with the truck. Anything wrong with this truck, I got to get it to the mechanic and I got to fix it, or get it fixed, I should say. This is my dad's truck. He would write the check for that. But with that being said, there are some things that I used to spend time on getting this truck to the mechanic. Truck driving is the exact opposite job. If you're a comfort at a desk job, I wouldn't get into trucking. Absolutely. I used to spend time doing things, getting things done on the truck that didn't necessarily, and I appreciate the likes. If y'all getting some value from this video, a couple of y'all sent likes already, definitely drop me a like. I appreciate that. I used to spend time getting things done on this truck that didn't necessarily need to be done right then. Right? And that was just because of my lack of knowledge of what priority, what could wait, and what needed to be done right then. Again, if you're driving a company truck, anything that needs to be done, I would say, last one, how do you load your truck? If there's anything, you know, like I said, if you're driving a company truck, I would say get everything fixed, right? Anytime you see anything wrong with your truck, a light or anything, you're supposed to check in and get it fixed. And, you know, on your post trip, let the mechanic know it's something that need to be done. I need it fixed before I go out in the morning. But with my situation, that's not possible, right? And the last thing you want to do when you are getting paid by the mile is have your truck at the mechanic and have to take time off. Right? Even if it's just a few hours, you get into work late and you miss a load for the day. Last thing you want to have to do is do that and miss money for something that don't necessarily have to be done. And another thing that you definitely don't want to get caught up in is having your truck caught up at the mechanic shop, right? For a day, a whole day, or for something that may not preparing, right? Making sure the part was at the mechanic shop before I got the truck over there. As an owner operator or somebody that's operating their own truck that's not a company truck, that all of those things are definitely a factor. And all of those things over time, as your knowledge increases of what's a priority and what's not, what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done, your knowledge of the routes, where you need to be, where you know, how to get into this specific building the right way, all of that good stuff, right? Your wheel time, your experience behind the wheel, all of that stuff, trucking will get easier, right? It's not an easy business, most certainly, but those things in specific, if you're right in it right now and you're like, man, I don't know about this one right here, those things that I just mentioned to you, I found have gotten easier in my trucking career, in my 4 years that I've been on the road, definitely. And it definitely was more difficult in the beginning than strawberry, sweet berry. What's up, fam? Those things have definitely gotten easier over time. And like Icy Profits mentioned a minute ago, trucking is the opposite of a desk job. It definitely is the opposite of a desk job, right? Nobody is necessarily telling me what to do all day, right? I'm in control of when I stop, when I go, right? I stop when the work gets done, right? It's not I don't get off, right? I stop when the work is done, okay? So yeah, it's definitely the opposite of a desk job. And if that's the type of work that you like, right, then definitely trucking is not going to be for you. But you know, if you're already in it, again, and you're in that first year or that first 2 years, or even the first 3 or 4 or 5 years, man, and you're like, gee whiz, I ain't sure. Again, these things that I mentioned in the video will get easier. Will get easier over time. So with that being said, I have felt my trailer stop moving, so I'm gonna hop out and see if they are done. This is Maurice Bay, the helpful trucker. Let me see about this comment. I'm a hard worker, don't mind being away from home. My desk job is a dead-end job. I want to be paid by commitment and efforts. Thanks for reply, Icy. Yeah, I'm a hard worker as well. And I'm a local driver. I want to say, let me say this before I get off. I'm a local driver. I'm home every night, right? And a lot of people will, there's a lot of mixed opinions on how people feel about being away from their family. I've heard people say, man, listen, man, if you ain't want to be away from your family, trucking ain't for you. You shouldn't be afraid to be away from your family. What's worse, being away from your family for a few years to get your money right, or being at home with your family and being broke? You hear people say, listen, that's a part of the business. You hear a lot of mixed opinions on that, and I just want to tell you something, because I got a very personal experience that will definitely make you think. It will definitely make you think. And some of y'all know, a few years back, my son passed away. My oldest son passed away. And it was totally unexpectedly, okay? It came totally out of the blue. And luckily, I was fortunate enough to be there when he passed away, okay? I wasn't out on the truck or anything. It didn't have anything to do with the truck, obviously, but I was fortunate enough to be there when he passed away. And this is one of the reasons why I personally would never be happy going over the road. I would never be happy going regional and being away from my family for weeks at a time, possibly months at a time, days at a time. I feel like getting home at night, that is a very personal thing to me. So I guess the reason that I want to point that out to you is because here's the thing, man. You want to get your money, but at the end of the day, no need to be sorry for my loss, Hunter. Absolutely. I didn't say that because I want to invoke sympathy for anyone. I appreciate that. What I want to point out to you is, like, you don't understand something like that until it's not there. Okay? So, like, I used to be in sales. Okay? I used to be in sales, and I'll make this quick because I want to get off. I got to get ready. But I used to be in sales. And when I used to train people in sales, a lot of the times they had things going on at home. Either a unsupportive spouse, which a lot of truckers have as well, or they had family members, children at the house that they needed to be home for, that maybe their caretakers, the parents, the grandparents of the child would be like, man, you're at work too much, right? You're at work too much. Their spouse would be saying that they feel guilty because they're away and they're away from their child. And I used to always tell them, as their trainer, as most of the trainers would tell them, listen, man, what is a few years away from your family so you can get your money right? I used to say that to them all the time. And that is the way that I actually saw it. I didn't just say that to them because I was trying to squeeze more work out of them. I said that to them because that was actually the way that I saw it. Until I had children. Can you talk about the bridge law real quick? I'm not sure what the bridge law is. I'm not sure what that is. But I didn't understand that at the time. If you want to drop something in the comments and let me know what that is, I'll get to it before I hop off if I have knowledge of it. I want to touch on this point again real quick because family is a big factor, right? I didn't understand that at that point because I didn't have children. So when a person came in, when I hired a mother that was totally interested in making money because she was tired of being broke, and she saw the sales opportunity that I was offering as an opportunity to change her life, my job as her trainer was to keep her on track and keep her focused on that so she could make her financial dreams a reality for herself, her little ones, and her family at the house. But I didn't understand when she would come in to me and say, I got to get off work early this evening, or I can't come in this Saturday because I got a birthday party for my children, or I got to take my daughter or my son to their friend's birthday party. I totally didn't understand that stuff when I didn't have children. But when I started having children, interestingly enough, ironically enough, I started wanting to take those days off and spend that time with my children as well. Not letting your kingpin in tandems be less than 41 feet. It only applies to certain states. It's dumb. I haven't heard of that bridge law here in Virginia, actually. I haven't heard of that. And then I felt like the biggest hypocrite when I started having children, because it's like, man, look at how many people I talked out of spending time with their children. And now that I have children, it's like, why am I working so hard if I can't spend time with my children? So I get it when you say, you know, you got to get your money right for the family. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to do this, right? But, you know, understand that it's not an option between being at home and being broke or being on the road for a month at a time so you can make money for your family. It's not one choice or the other, right? This driving a thing will use you, and as any business will, it will use you as much as you allow it to, okay? Meaning, you know, these companies will run you as much as, like, other than ELD, stuff like that, but, you know, your business will run you as much as you allow it to. When I was self-employed, there was always something to do regarding my business, right? I could have always said, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, because it was always something to do in my business. And trucking, especially as an independent and as an owner-operator, is the exact same way, okay? Now, when my son passed away unexpectedly, of course, you can understand how that's something that I'll never forget. That experience, of course, will always be with me, which means it's likely that I'll never be comfortable. When I'm 70 years old, it's likely that I'll never be comfortable or happy when I'm too far away from my loved ones and my family for too long. But that's a very personal experience to me. But here's what I'm saying. Again, just like when I started having children, I started understanding the people that had children before me. When something like that comes into your life, you will totally change your perspective on leaving your family and being away from your family to get money. Especially when you realize that you're in a world where driving a truck and being on the road for a month at a time ain't the only way to feed your family. That's the point that I want you to realize. It's not about, you know, I'm gonna be at home with my family or be broke, or I'm gonna be on the road for 6 months at a time. You know, obviously the clear choice in that case is you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But when you factor in, you know, what if you get a call from your child or from your loved one when you out on the road and you can't get home? I would imagine that's every truck driver with a family, that's their greatest fear. I would imagine that. And I would never wish that on anyone. But again, man, they always say smell your roses while you have them. Right? And one thing I know that will always stick with me, and that I believe that any person that has the experience of losing a loved one, they will totally agree with me here, is, you know, one thing I was grateful for after my son passed away is that I willingly dropped everything for him and for my children every time I was required to. Obviously, as the man of the house, I accept the responsibility of being the primary breadwinner. I feel less than a man if I can't do that. But on the same note, I'm not willing to sacrifice time with my loved ones, right? Just to right, to bring bread into my household, because at some point you got to decide, you got to set boundaries, man. Because I'm gonna say it again, just like anything, trucking or any business will run you ragged if you let it. It absolutely will. You'll never have any time for your family if you know, I always got something else to do. So you got to set up boundaries, and you got to say, you know what, enough is enough. And it's up to you. It's a very personal thing. Some people don't have children. Some people don't have family. Some people got older children, right? A guy told me the other day up here, he said, I don't want to go home too much. I don't want to go home too early. I might catch the wife at home with her man. And I know he was joking when he said it, but he might not have been. Some people don't want to go home to their spouse. Some people don't love their spouse. My spouse is my best friend, right? And I don't want to put her, you know, she didn't marry me. So, you know, there's a reason why she married me. She married me because I'm a provider. But again, I got to decide when enough is enough, okay? And again, it's about family at the end of the day. Like I said, when my son passed away, the one thing I was extremely grateful for is that I made a conscious choice every time he needed me and my children needed me to drop my job and put it aside. I slept good at night. There were no second thoughts or regrets of whether I could have did it better, or whether I could have spent more time with them, or whether I should have did it better. I dropped everything whenever I was required to, as his pop, as his dad, as his father. And I would do the same thing for my children, you know, that are still with me now. And I most certainly do the same thing for the love of my life, my best friend and my wife as well. To me, you ain't successful if you on the road all of the time. You know, that's not really what it is. That's really not what it is. It's lifestyle, and lifestyle is about abundance, and abundance is not about being abundant in one category and lacking in the other. It's abundance is abundance, right? That's what abundance is. So you need to keep that in mind. Nothing wrong with being out on the road for as long as you feel like you need to, but just understand family. You're gonna miss your family. Like I said, I get home every night and I still miss my family. I still feel that I'm away from my family too much. So again, not good or bad if you're on the road too much and you're away from your family is what it's all about. And I don't think anybody would argue with that. So with that being said, I've been on this damn thing 27 minutes. Tony Musto, I appreciate you dropping the comment about appreciating the conversation. I appreciate you being here, absolutely sticking around with me this long, letting me rant and just get some stuff off. This is the Helpful Trucker. Be on the lookout for the next video. I'll see you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. I'll get it up as soon as I can, and I will, as usual, make it as helpful as I can. Peace out. I gotta roll. Keep it in the lines.